Mendoza, Juan Valencia, Giselle Mendoza, Jonathan Ramsey. I also have speakers that are here present. Cristian Herrera.
Okay, my name is Christian Herrera. I live in Central California, but I've worked in Calexico for 10 years. I believe the city of Calexico should call for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza because if we profess to live in a democracy that extols democratic and humanitarian principles, we the citizenry have a direct say in deciding the money we work hard for every day shouldn't be used to be spent on bombs and weapons to fuel what United Nations officials have called the worst humanitarian catastrophe in 50 years currently taking place in Gaza since October 7th, in which more than 35,000 civilians and 15,000 children have died by starvation as a result of, according to international law, Israel's illegal blockade, not allowing food and other necessities to enter Gaza to replenish the civilian population, half of whom are children under 18, and Israel's constant bombardment and airstrikes of homes, schools, hospitals, refugee camps, and other civilian infrastructure. Calling for a ceasefire is our community declaring that A, we have a moral responsibility to ensure that our money is not being spent on genocide and the oppression of a whole ethnic group, and B, we have a fiduciary responsibility to our community to ensure our needs. Right now, the US Congress has just passed a $26 billion aid package for Israel, when the Department of Housing and Urban Development has estimated that it would cost $25 billion a year to fix homelessness, something Calexico suffers from profusely. And that's a textbook example of the government betraying our needs, and that's something that we should not be a part of. And who is for a ceasefire? More than 225 humanitarian and human rights organizations, 140 Jewish organizations, including Jewish Voices for Peace, 153 UN member states, the European Union Parliament have all called for a permanent ceasefire. Pope Francis has called for a ceasefire. He's called for a disarmament, declaring that it is our moral duty. 66% of Americans, over 70% of Democrats support a ceasefire in Gaza. The reason the president is losing his support now, his base, and 56% of Republican voters also support a ceasefire. More than 100 different localities across the US, including Atlanta, Chicago, and San Francisco. When historians study the people of this country, how the people of this country stood by and let another Holocaust happen on our watch, I want them to see that Calexico took a stand against it. And I urge the council to make the right choice by approving the resolution for a ceasefire in Gaza. Thank you.
Irene Romero.
Hello. As the next speaker comes up, let the record reflect that Councilmember Moreno is in city chambers and refuses to be here to take or even listen to the public on this matter.
Just be respectful. Just be calm. Just be calm. Calm. Ay, Dios mío. Okay. Good afternoon, council members. To commence, I had written a message for Councilmember Moreno. Councilmember Moreno, I wish to address the proceedings of our last meeting, which were conducted lacking the necessary respect for public input. Despite the efforts made in our comments and emails, they were disregarded without due consideration, undermining the importance and purpose of community engagement. In today's interconnected world, municipal matters extend beyond local boundaries, necessitating engagement with global issues affecting Calexico's constituents. Apoyar una resolución para un cese al fuego en Gaza no solo es un acto de preocupación humanitaria, sino que también tiene beneficios significativos para nuestra ciudad. Taking a stand for peace by upholding respect for international law aligns with our city's ethos of promoting the quality of life, reflecting positively on our municipal identity. Al priorizar el diálogo sobre la violencia, Calexico da ejemplo a otras ciudades, enfatizando la interconexión del bienestar comunitario y las relaciones internacionales. Sea que no podemos resolver conflictos en el extranjero, pero sí podemos modelar soluciones pacíficas dentro de nuestras propias comunidades. The allocation of resources is a pressing issue, given the sizable $3.8 billion annual military aid provided by the U.S. to Israel. Colectivamente, nosotros los residentes de Calexico contribuimos con más de $329,000 en impuestos federales, financiando directamente este genocidio en vez de nuestra comunidad. Al tener conversaciones transparentes sobre la asignación de nuestros impuestos, Calexico afirma su compromiso con la gobernanza responsable y la política extranjera ética. The resolution also condemns anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Crucial, as only by addressing these issues can we build a city where everyone feels valued, respected, and safe. As a Muslim mother of Egyptian children, the neighboring country to Palestine, this all deeply resonates with me. Por ejemplo, recién mientras reunía firmas para la resolución, el dueño de un negocio local respondió con comentarios asquerosos, diciendo que todos los niños de Palestinos son terroristas y también tienen que morir, que tienen que matar a todos porque todos son terroristas. Such attitudes, like those of people who dismiss or downplay cases of prejudice against Muslims or Jews, contribute to a culture in which discrimination, hatred, and even genocide are normalized. Despite being a smaller percentage of the population here, we deserve to have our concerns taken seriously, just like any other member of our unique border community. Alcaldesa Gloria Romo. Anteriormente dijo que si hubiera algo que pudiera hacer, lo haría. Apoyar esta resolución y sus objetivos es precisamente lo que puede hacer. Muchas gracias.
Next speaker is Mariana Aguilar.
Buenas tardes. Pues yo no tenía pensado en platicar, pero ya no puedo quedarme callada. I can't be silent anymore about what is going on. Yes, you might say that Calexico it's a small town that really, some people says it really doesn't affect it, but it's not true. I believe it is our humanitarian responsibility to call for a permanent ceasefire, and as we speak, nationwide there are protests being held, and one can say, what are these kids in universities? What are they going to make a difference? And what are these universities trying to silence them going to be helpful? But I think it's everybody's responsibility to speak up on what is happening in the world right now. What is happening is a genocide, and we are watching it live through our phones in first-person accounts, and we cannot stay silent. We need to speak up, and it is our responsibility here in Calexico to set an example for small towns to declare a permanent ceasefire, that it doesn't matter how small our community is, and it is important to say something. It is important to raise our voice. Thank you.
Cristian Herrera? Or, you good? Jocelyn Moreles?
Hi, muchas gracias, alcaldesa Romo y concejal Manzanares, concejal Raúl Ureña, por escuchar nuestras voces. La verdad, no preparé nada para hoy, pero solo este es un paso más de el que vamos yendo. Otra cosa de el movimiento es lo que se le llama el boycott, divest and sanction, by boycotting corporations that support the murdering of the people in Gaza and everywhere else in the world, like Congo and Sudan. we realize that all of these injustices are connected, and by them being connected, we are able to make these links, and with our power together, we can make the difference. What we've been also doing is boycotting McDonald's, boycotting Starbucks. It's really important to show with our money that they can't get away with doing what they have been doing for the last years. I'm 28 years old, and barely this 7 months ago, that's when I figured out what's going on in Gaza. So it really has opened my eyes. Thanks.
Next speaker is Joseph Gilling.
.404 East 2nd Street, Joseph Gilling. City Attorney, yesterday there was a notice posted about these recalled council members being able to use city funds. Is making a meeting considered one of those? We just wanted to have some clarification. There's a lot of people asking questions, and we just want to be sure.
Our office has looked at that question, and we've concluded that calling for this meeting is not an expenditure of public funds.
But you have to pay police, you have to pay lights.
That's our opinion, right? Our election expert has looked at it, the city attorney has looked at it, I've looked at it, and that's what we've all concluded.
But why specifically if it's expenditure of funds?
It's incidental.
So can we see that code that you're looking at that we can identify, or is it just your opinion? How does that work?
There's a written opinion that has been forwarded to.
But not to the public, right?
It went out to the public, I believe.
Yeah, but it doesn't specify why this meeting is, because this is expenditure of funds. So no answer. Okay, so that's transparency that you wanted, right? That's what you were fighting for. But here's another thing. Oh, you want me to talk about you? Okay, I'll talk about you. So I get it. You guys want to do all this fighting, but if this was a thing that was affecting Israeli people and Palestinian people, have you guys gone around the aisle and shaking people's hand? Where are the Jewish people here today? Why are they not in support of this kind of stuff? This is why they don't answer this stuff, because you know it's a very, very touchy subject that is also dividing. I have nothing to do with it. I have no qualms about either side. I don't care. There's war all the time, and I don't like it at all. I'm totally with you guys. I would never want something like that to happen in our country either. But the thing is that this is dividing people. And you guys want to say it's not? Okay, so let's get down to it. Hold on. This is my time speaking. I let you speak. So thank you. No. I'm speaking. So what was that term that you guys used from the? No. For Palestine will be free. What's the term? Okay. So you guys know we agree that it is anti-Semitism. So on April 16th, 2024, the U.S. House have determined that phrase that they like to say is anti-Semitic. Whatever you want. Thank you. Let me speak. So these are the type of things that these people don't want to tell you, but I will. That's fine. You can call me whatever you want, but that's my opinion to say whatever I want.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Megan Moreno.
Por eso se va a la escuela, gente, para que luego no se escuchen así.
Got a typed letter. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Megan Moreno. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Megan Moreno, and I am a citizen of Calexico. I have been following the news in Gaza since October 7th, and even before. In university, I took a class titled Arab Literature, where we actually read books. Our class learned about the geopolitical issues of the Middle East. Specifically, I studied the Israeli occupation of Palestine. Because of my understanding of the situation, I wholeheartedly believe that a ceasefire resolution for the city of Calexico would help our citizens become more informed and willing to act upon the side of humanity. This ongoing genocide has exposed Israel as a bloodthirsty, occupying settler colonial state. Gaza is in ruins after 7 months of daily bombardment. 15,000 children are dead, and their deaths have been paid for with our taxpayer dollars. Instead of these taxes going towards education or healthcare, our hard-earned labor is being used to kill innocent civilians in Gaza. If we remain silent, if we do not speak out, then I believe our country, our citizens, are complicit in this genocide. For us to counteract this genocide, I fully support this ceasefire resolution and see it as a way for Calexico citizens to fight for our collective humanity. I cannot turn a blind eye to human suffering like some others. I believe this step is in the right direction and will show the rest of Imperial County that the people of Calexico are not afraid to stand up for what is right, what is just, what is ethical, and what is moral. I urge you to be on the right side of history. When our children and grandchildren ask us what we did to stop this, I hope to be able to say that I did everything in my power to end this genocide. Will you be able to say the same? Thank you for your time.
Next speaker is Karim Flores.
Hello, I'm Karim Flores, resident of Calexico. Sorry, obviously, I'm just came from school. I'm actually a Semite, so just in case you guys want to ask about Semite things, I'm here. Marhaban, hola, and hello. These are 3 languages, by the way: Arabic, Spanish, and English, which it's what describes me as a person. I made this speech when there was people in the meeting, but since it was moved, I'm just gonna say how it was. I imagine it's not common for high schoolers to participate in public comments or attend city council meetings. The only high schoolers I know are here right now is my sister, and that's it. As a representative of the youth here in Calexico, it's crucial to consider my perspective on this urgent matter because we are the ones directly impacted by the decisions made today. Our future is at stake, and our voices are said to be heard in shaping policies that will affect us in the long term. For my entire academic year, I had never been educated about Palestine until 2020 in the pandemic, by the way. I was 14 years old, by the way. I'm 18 right now. However, I took it upon myself to learn independently, avoiding any misinformation or propaganda. Becoming educated instead of blindly following became a trend or mirrored by many in my generation across the country. And so I made a concentrated effort to enlighten my friends and family about the Palestine and its history of enduring 25 years of suffering. Your children remaining in concern about global crisis reflects a sense of privilege and instability to empathize with the struggles of less unfortunate people. This should be served as an eye-opener. As future decision makers, we should expect those who educate us during our youth to involve us during undeniably historical tragic moments such as these. Our questions shall be answered, and we should be candidly educated rather than coddled. While the foundation of the country of Israel is taught in school, a lack of history about what happened the day it was founded, the Nakba, or the kickback of Palestinian people from their homes, and the entirety destruction of their villages. In addition to the lack of education about Palestinian history, it's also important to address the pervasive racist stereotypes against students of Arab descent that go often disregarded in schools. From my personal experience as a Lebanese person, I've been harassed and I've been called many names that you guys don't want to know. And it's crazy because this county is based by 97% of Hispanic people. So we are also a minority, but they act as a majority here. And me as a minority, being Arab, is kind of like crazy that I had to go through that. So for example, I was asked if I was wearing a hijab, you know, what we're wearing right now. I was asked in school, oh, are you wearing a hijab? In a notorious, like, funny way, satire moment. People were making fun of Ramadan, which is religious, and it's crazy because people were making fun of that, and to what happened in 9/11. So they made jokes about that on me. So I have nothing to do with it, but they were then doing that. By the way, these are the parents that let their children say these things, and their education here in this county is crazy because my parents never taught me to be disrespectful towards any race. That's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay. Consent agenda, we have no issues, and discussion and potential action. Number 1, resolution calling for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza and end to the blockade of critical humanitarian aid, release of all hostages, and condemning anti-Semitic, anti-Palestinian, and Islamophobic rhetoric and attacks. Discussion?
While I get another microphone.
Buenas tardes a todos. First of all, I'd like to thank the grassroots organization Imperial Valley for Palestine that finally brought this forward to our attention. I had made some comments on my own capacity as council member, but I never brought this forward, this actual item upon myself until the group approached the council and practically requested that we took a stance officially on this. And although we understand perfectly that this resolution is not going to stop anything that's happening around the world, I do think it's important in our own capacity to join the list of over 100 American cities that are taking a stand and saying this is not okay. We might pledge allegiance to the flag every at the start of every meeting, but we have to also recognize for the love of this very nation when we're not the ones doing the good around the world, right? I think that's why it's dividing. I think that's why it's very hurtful for some to have to recognize that we are taking a great role in this catastrophe ourselves, our own tax dollars, and that's why it's so, so hurtful for some people. We have letters here from our diocese of Santa Fe in conjunction with San Diego and Imperial counties, all calling for a ceasefire. When I initially saw this public comment on their behalf, I was thinking that my first thought was that they were gonna be against it for religious reasons, and they are on the side of ending the human suffering, which is all that we're trying to do here. Calexico might be a drop of water in the entire glass, but I'd rather be that drop of water than to not have participated or took a stance at all. How many times in our very short recorded history have we been wrong, right? Vietnam, the weapons of mass destruction in the Middle East, almost 30 years of war there. How many times is it gonna take? How many years? How many tax dollars? We're already over $1 trillion in warfare in the Middle East. We have nothing to show for it. Nothing at all. So I think we're at an imperative point in time where we as a society, as an American society, have to take a stance and say, when is war abroad enough? When is it time to focus on ourselves, right? Collectively, the people of Calexico have unwillingly paid over $300,000 to this catastrophe, humanitarian catastrophe that's going on there. Delivered, by the way. And I think that the narrative has to change. I think the narrative is changing when now people who would speak against it are speaking for a ceasefire. And that's why it takes political courage, personal courage, to stand up here and say what needs to be said. Right? There's a reasons why you only see 3 council members up here, because it takes one, political courage, right? And the ones that are here are the ones that are brave enough to vote on this. So I'm proud to be on this panel today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Manzanares. To the youth in the audience, this is probably going to be the last decision that Councilmember Manzanares and myself get to take on the Calexico City Council, at least for a couple of months, until the next election, until we decide to run again, whenever that may be. But I want to repeat myself before we go, the words that I echo towards you as a generation that we are a part of, la misma generación, that you guys are not just the future, brilliant, beautiful, brave, inclusive future of this city and of this country. You're also the brave, inclusive present of this city. And it matters that we show up. It matters that we show up to vote. We saw the consequences of low voter turnout just a couple of days ago. You can expect this level of IQ from Mr. Guillén and this level of courage from Mr. Moreno and Mr. Garcia to govern this body for at least a couple of months. This is the last decision we get to take. You guys got lucky. I want us to take a moment of reflection of what it means to protect, to not just gain progress, but also to protect our progress and also to reclaim our progress as a generation. I know this generation is not going to let that level of IQ and this level of courage in here for too long. That's what I want to hope. And that is what I will work for. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Let's not be single issue voters. Let's not be single issue citizens. We have to stand together, interconnected. What do they teach us in college? Not interdisciplinary, when we have interconnected struggles. We have to show up for each other. Otherwise, it takes a small group of people to take all the progress away from all of us. Black, brown, LGBT, Muslim, all of us. And that is what we saw when we failed to show up to vote. So let it be the last decision that we take for just a couple of months, and I look forward to a nice summer vacation. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, señor Manzanares, señor Ureña. Es muy importante que sepan todos, en especial aquellas personas que lamentablemente no han incurrido a una votación que hace poco hubo, muchas gentes que a veces por algún motivo no pueden estar aquí. Pero es muy importante reconocer el esfuerzo que todos ustedes están haciendo, como lo dije la junta pasada. Me duele mucho por lo que estamos pasando, porque lo mismo que le pasa a ustedes, le puede pasar a cualquiera. Respeto mucho a mi país, a los Estados Unidos, lo respeto enormemente. Y también respeto mucho las decisiones, lo que están haciendo actualmente para tratar, sí, de mitigar toda esta problemática que decidió Estados Unidos intervenir. Pienso también y oro mucho por todos los soldados norteamericanos que fueron enviados también, ¿verdad?, a esta problemática, porque también fueron enviados gente de aquí, también están sufriendo las familias que están aquí, que mandaron a sus hijos. En fin, como pueden ver, una guerra no trae nada bueno y vivimos en un país libre y soberano. Y la verdad, yo respeto mucho esto. Respeto también que la ciudad de Nogales, Arizona, al cual mando un fuerte abrazo a mis compañeros regidores, a los 5 compañeros regidores que votaron unánimemente para apoyar esta resolución, que solamente es un protocolo. Y de ahí pedirle a Dios que nos escuche, que es lo más importante. Solamente es un protocolo. No estamos haciendo nada malo, ni va a caer aquí algo, o sea, eso es lo que a veces tenemos que entender. Y por eso respeto y admiro la decisión de Nogales, pero no nada más Nogales, hay más de 130, 40, algo así, ciudades, arquidiócesis. Ahorita estaba leyendo precisamente la arquidiócesis de Santa Fe, que también, fíjese, una arquidiócesis, aquí está,
Católica.
católica, está mandando, wow, es un mensaje bastante serio también. La ONU, me impresioné ver cómo la Organización de las Naciones Unidas también, la famosa resolución 786 de la Cámara de Representantes de los Estados Unidos. O sea, está claro, ¿no? Nomás quiero decirles que más que esta resolución, que es un simple papel, esto quisiera pedirles que no pierdan la fe, no pierdan esa fe que tienen y sigan pidiendo, pidan por los que no entienden también. Ahorita les pido una disculpa, lamentablemente en la ciudad de Calexico estamos atravesando una situación muy delicada, que yo espero se arregle ahora que pues ya pronto se va a certificar las elecciones, primero Dios, y tengo fe también de que el grupo que inició todo esto también se una y todos trabajemos en unión, así como lo ha pedido la coordinadora del otro movimiento, que también se respeta, que unamos todos los esfuerzos de todo mundo para sacar adelante a la ciudad de Calexico, a los ciudadanos, a todo el mundo. Yo creo que el respeto es muy importante, porque si uno no tiene amor o no se tiene amor uno mismo, no puede darlo a las demás personas. Y aquí en Calexico le pido a Dios porque todos trabajemos unidos y podamos realmente sacar adelante a la ciudad de Calexico. Entonces, con esto les pido de nuevo, no abandonen esa fe tan grande que veo que tienen, y pues que Dios los bendiga. Y estamos aquí en la medida de nuestras posibilidades para seguir orando por todo esto y pare de una vez esta lamentable guerra. Con esto nos vamos a la moción. ¿Alguien va a hacer la moción?
I want to make a motion with a small modification to the resolution. I don't know if you have it there or. See? Okay. The only thing that I want to omit is keep the resolution just as is. Towards the end, there's a small list of 6 points. If we could just remove the list of 6 points, keep everything else as is. We just want to make sure that the resolution is as simple, easy to read as it is, and not to go too much into detail as it later goes on.
Just to clarify, you want us to remove all the items, 1 through 5? Let me see.
There's 6. There's one on
6.
on the back.
Okay, so you want us to remove the 6 items?
Correct. So
Okay.
just that whole list. If we could just remove from the actual resolution, and that would be my only edit to the resolution, just to keep things as brief as possible. I think the resolution itself is very direct, and it pretty much embodies everything that is here, but in the resolution itself. And aside from that, that will be my only
Okay.
modification to
I'll
it.
second that motion.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Gloria Romo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilberto Manzanares,
Yes.
Councilmember Raúl Ureña.
Enthusiastically, yes, we pray for peace.
Okay, thank you. Motion passed. Number 2, consideration of the resolution establishing a regular meeting of the City Council for May 8, 2024, 5:30 p.m.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
Manzanares.
Oh, okay. One comment?
Joseph Gilly,
You guys are making everyone come. Just again, going off of what I was talking about, I think there was a meeting, a commissioners meeting, not too long ago, but there was a discussion of, why are we, Ms. Colio, I think your point was, why are we having this meeting to explain to you and wasting all this money? Well, this isn't a waste of money too. I mean, I think Moreno would agree with me too. I mean, why are we here? There's a rule that the recalled can't be spending money. We're spending money, we're paying this person here, we're paying these 2 officers right here, right? How is it any different? Please make it make sense. Make sense. That's all we want, right? There's always caveats to what they want, but then there's no caveats to what we want, with the ones that are actually paying the bills. You know, that's just my only thing. Thank you.
Okay, other comment?
Are there any other public comments?
Okay, roll call.
I want to say something. Man, I'm here. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, so Ms. Colio, so this item was brought to you by you? Because last time I was here and we were not supposed to have a meeting, right? Because we had correct me if I'm wrong, we had a SCAG meeting to go to.
Yes.
I just want clarification, that's all.
Yes.
So we brought
that
it back
meeting-
for what reason?
So no, we're not going back. The meeting remains canceled. The May 1st meeting, it remains canceled. However, the attorneys for another issue that we have pending requires that we have a regular meeting, establish a regular meeting to be able to approve a resolution for the water, related to the water shut-off. The second reading for the ordinance. Secondly, we were also reached out by the county, letting us know that by May the 10th, we will have to have a certify the election, the recall election.
Right.
So we either meet any time in the week or might as well take an action with both items, which is the certification, in which only 3 city council members will be able to vote and certify the recall. And that's the reason we're requesting this item.
Okay, and so because right at the deadline when we got to certify it, because we have, once it gets certified with the county,
Yes.
the county, and by the way, we don't have to do anything because this is just a courtesy. You know, we didn't have to vote on it. The county does vote on it,
No,
right?
No, no.
Okay, so what I'm alluding to is this. So it comes back to us for certification, right?
Yes.
Okay. Has to be 3 votes?
Yes, sir.
Or are they
Unanimous-
also,
unanimous 3
Mr.
votes.
Manzanares and Orella going to vote also?
No, sir.
Okay, so have to be 3 votes or 2 on majority?
3 votes.
Okay, so if somebody says no, what happens?
I
So
will-
if somebody doesn't
I will
certify
defer
it,
to
it's
the-
just
to
no,
the
right?
attorney.
Or you have to vote in other words?
Yes.
Quite frankly, I don't know what happens. Because it's
Right.
I've never seen that
Right,
situation happen.
because I remember a while back, the board of supervisors it was a board of supervisors for a county somewhere in Arizona, and the board of supervisors recused themselves. They didn't want to approve it, and they took it to court, and the court ordered them, you either showed up or we're going to arrest you. That's important. We need to know that. Okay, you need to certify it, and I'm just saying that's going to happen here, but I'm saying I'm going to approve it because
Yeah,
it's-
that
it
could
became a
happen.
law already. I mean,
Right.
right? So we need to be careful with that. We need to also be active and involved with advising us that, I mean, you take this course, that's going to happen. You take that course, nothing's going to happen.
So today I had a meeting with the attorney that is for the election, and he cited the codes that applies in this situation, and he mentioned that if that will happen, we will have to go to another way. But he mentioned that he is going to provide us a recommendation if one of the city council doesn't approve the certification.
Right. So,
Yes.
and then also the board of supervisors is going to approve it on Tuesday.
Yes.
That's the regular meeting
Yes.
for them, and then we get it the next day. That's the way it comes up to us. And
Yes.
within the code, the government code, we have to approve. But from day on, we have 60 days to make an appointment
Yes,
or
sir.
a special election.
Yes.
Of course, we don't have money for that, but we're going to make an appointment. So moving forward with that, what do we have in place or what mechanism are in place? Because I know in the past that I think the city manager's office with a group of either commissioners, whatever it was, they put something together. Now, I don't want to see that anymore. Okay, but I'll reserve my for that day. I'm going to make my remarks on that because the people collectors don't want that anymore. We had that issue with that. Doesn't create transparency. We want to get away with this compa system. You know, some people are going to get in there because they know somebody. So we're going to have the community involved with this decision making. Obviously, eventually we're going to vote on that, and you're going to have 3 votes. My question on that is, do we need, Mr. Attorney, do we need the majority vote to appoint somebody, or we need all 3 city council members?
You know, I'll need to look at that and get back to you too. I mean, the general rule is you need 3 votes for an ordinance, a resolution, and an order to pay money, and I'm not sure for an appointment whether that's a resolution or
Right,
not.
and so I want to recall you that I did read what Ms. Esperanza
Yes.
sent us through the county, and it
Yes.
does say there has to be a majority vote, so.
Yes, it is
Right, on this particular
two
case,
to
so,
one.
right,
So
so
you
we'll
will be
appoint
able to
somebody.
appoint individuals at that point,
Right.
once the certification goes through.
Okay. And do we have anything planned for that? What's going to happen with that? I
No,
would like
and
to see
that's what I had the conference call with the
Okay.
attorneys today to investigate in case one of the council members decides not to vote to certify the elections. And so before that time comes, before May the 8th, I will have a response, and we're going to put it available
Okay.
for the city council members.
Do we have anything for that March 8th meeting? Or we just, I mean, aside from just voting, ratifying this, do we have any?
Because it's going to turn into a regular meeting, we might have other items from the city
Uh-huh.
that are necessary, like a regular meeting. But it is important to emphasize that it has to be a regular meeting, and the only way to have a regular meeting is for you to pass a resolution.
Right, okay. I am going to submit something for that, to help you out with that. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all. You
Sounds
answered
good.
my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call?
Mayor Gloria Romo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilberto Manzanares,
Yes.
Councilmember Javier Moreno,
Yes.
Councilmember Raúl Ureña.
Yes, just a sneak peek of
Thank
your
you.
new city government, Calexico.
Thank you. I have adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
Yes.